What a week. And boy, did the district playoffs deliver. What a fantastic week of baseball we just had here in South Florida as the high school baseball season now is in its playoff. I can't believe the season's already in the playoffs. And the district tournaments were just sensational. We saw so much good stuff, good action. And man, our second was all over the place doing about 6 games. If it wasn't for a scheduling hiccup, I would have seen 7. There was a game I missed that I certainly wanted to see. 2 of them actually, but things work out. Things change and can't be everywhere all the time. So we will focus in on the districts here and get into it here today as we're going to break down and just review and recap the great action we saw. But before we do so, we'll do the formalities, the regular housekeeping. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If please click the hype button, which is now on these long form videos. That all goes into helping the channel grow. And the other thing I want to mention real fast is you might have noticed on some of these, on the shorts or the recaps I do, the video recaps, the highlights of the games. If you're in the market for baseball related items, baseballs, baseball bats, gloves, etc., and you order off of the links, it does help the channel because I'm going to keep the channel forever. Content is going to not be, I'm not going to charge for anything. I don't charge people for videos. But in return, if you're already going to buy a bunch of baseballs and you want to consider doing it, check out the deals on some of the products I put out there. Would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's dive into the district action. And the game that really stood out to me was the two-way District 14 title game between Chaminade Madonna and NSU University School. What a fantastic game. Exciting. There was a lot of runs. There's tons of action. Please check out the full video. The full video is on the Man on Second channel. You could see that it was posted a day ago. But that game was played at such a high level, and Chaminade, won it in walk-off fashion, 8-7, courtesy of Josh Handel. Josh had an amazing game. He had a 2-out, 2-strike RBI hit. I think they called it a double because he ran and touched second base after the ball dropped, but runner was on third. He was going to score anyway, so whether it was a single or double is irrelevant except for to the slugging percentage of Josh Handel. But just a fantastic game for Josh. A little bit of controversy over some umpiring, some coaching moves that didn't necessarily pan out, but overall a great game. And we saw why South Florida has so many players that are gamers. And you college coaches, if you're not in on the Mark Manuels and you're not in on the Landon Combs, and you're not in on the AJ Diaz's and the AJ Vargas's and the Josh Wrights of the world, you're missing something because these players all stepped up big time. And I'm going to kind of break that one down. Folks, I had a highlight, but for whatever reason, it's hiccuping. It was an amazing play. This is my third take on this. It stalled out. I don't know what's going on. Either I have a slow internet today or the video is too heavy. It was long, but it was a key moment, and it happened in the 5th inning, so I'll take you through it verbally. You can see the play. It's on either shorts or in the game story. So the video is out there for what I'm talking about. And this is with the bases loaded in the 5th inning, Chaminade up by 3, and Mark Manuel at the plate. Mark hits a double over the center fielder's head. It goes basically to the fence. AJ Vargas goes back, gets it. Josh Wright, the shortstop, goes out to short center, is really, center field to retrieve the relay throw. Landon Combs, who's the runner on first, he's going halfway on contact, and he sees the ball drop, and now he's in full sprint, basically right before touching second base as the ball hits the ground, and he's going to be waved home to try to score what would be the tying run. The runner on third and the runner on second score easily. The throw goes to Josh Wright, who doesn't handle it immediately, but the ball only falls short distance from Josh, so he's able to quickly retrieve the ball. Combs is waved home. Josh Wright makes a perfect one-hop throw to Isaiah Fernandez, who's standing there, and they get Landon out by a good 10 feet. and just an amazing baseball play, very energetic play. And then when you break that down, you could kind of see a lot of really good baseball, and why I get why Dan Rivetto, the coach at U School, sent Landon. You're trying to make them make a play, but it was only one out. So if he holds them, it would have been second and third, one out with Aiden Jacobs at the plate, their number 5 hole hitter. So this is why you play the games. You go for it. You make them make a play. But great, relay by Chaminade, even with the not handling cleanly the relay throw at shortstop. But like I said, Vargas, he went back quickly. He retrieved the ball, made the throw right. The fact that the ball didn't kick far away from him allowed Josh to get the ball and throw a very accurate one-hop throw to the plate. And Isaiah Fernandez is just standing there. He fields it and makes the easy tag out. And that's just baseball, folks. I mean, sometimes you gamble and you win. Sometimes you lose. Then you come to the 7th inning after U School did tie it. Also in the 7th inning, they were down. They were down a run or two. I think it was 1 run. They were down 1 run in the 7th inning. Ernie Aguado started that inning off. Great 2-strike approach after feeling an inside fastball should have been called a ball. You could see Ernie was visibly frustrated, but then he kind of shortened his swing. He's a switch hitter. He's batting left. You could just see him just staying on the baseball and taking it right up the middle for a ground ball single into center field. Landon Combs also had a big hit in that inning, and then they intentionally walked Mark Manuel to load the bases with no outs. Aiden Jacobs gets a sacrifice fly that ties the score, and then they get a strikeout and a ground out or a pop out. I can't remember what the third out of the inning was, but or maybe even a pickoff play that kind of gave Chaminade the momentum going into the bottom of the 7th. AJ Diaz, who had an amazing game, he had a home run earlier in the game. He leads off with a walk. Wild pitch to second. Dylan Goris, who's an excellent bunter, gets the bunt down to get him to third. And now the inning's very difficult for U School. Chaminade in a very good spot. Isaiah Fernandez is up. Infield's in. Isaiah smokes a line drive, goes right to Landon Combs at second. Otherwise, Isaiah would have been the walk-off hit hero. But now 2 outs. Then the moment 2-2 count to Josh Andell. And again, the sequence is on the full game video. If anyone, I encourage, go watch that as well. Pitch on the outside part of the plate is called ball 3. Clearly U School felt it was a strike. I felt it was a strike, but I'm a little offset where I am, so I can't 100% say it's a strike, other than it sure darn well looked like it was a strike. However, the call went in favor of U School, so the count runs full. Full count pitch, fastball, elevators, basically at Josh's eyes. He would have walked if he took it. But, kids like the high fastball, and even if it's a bit out of the zone, they can handle that pitch, and Josh Andell handled it well, hitting it into the right center with the game-winning walk-off hit. Again, so many really good baseball moments. I love breaking down games to that level. And like I said, Chase Potter, just great at bats all day. There was a moment early in the game with an open base. Potter wasn't walked. He delivered a 2-run hit. There was a lot of good stuff. Let me see if I'm missing anyone. I don't want to miss anybody. Mark Manuel, again, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs. Definitely college players. These coaches. I know they talking about whether these are prospects at high school. That's another story. But colleges, you need to be in on our players or watch these games if you're not, because our players can play. Santiago Arismendi came in relief of Caleb Paul. He battled. The pitching lines for none of them were great, but the pitchers all battled. Mark Manuel had to throw 3 or so innings of relief of Matthew Greenberg, who didn't have his day. It wasn't Matthew's day. I've seen him so much better. That was a tough one for Matthew, but, he's a gamer as well. It was, kept the team in there. And like I said, Josh Andell, 2 hits, Chase Potter, 4 hits, 3 RBIs, H.A. Diaz. Those were the key moments. Jackson Walper, the catcher for for U School, and Landon Combs, as well as Ernie Aguado, each had 2 hits. And as I mentioned, Nick Trivia, he had an RBI double. Isaac Rosa scored 2 runs. So those were the stars in a game that was played at a very high level, very intense game that was. Let's segue this over to 5A District 15, which where I was at earlier in the week. Archbishop McCarthy playing at Pembroke Pines Charter. Those were the 1-2 seeds, respectively. And Charter was the host school, even though they were the visiting team. Championship game won by Archbishop McCarthy 6-4. And another game that was a fascinating game. The first inning, there was a lot of action. Both starters struggled in the first inning. Garrett Duffy of McCarthy gave up 2 runs in the top of the first, and or maybe 3. I wrote it down, but maybe I got it wrong. I think it was 2, though. And then McCarthy responds off Dean Jaworski, who just wasn't Dean efficient, Dean Jaworski. Like, he gave up 4 runs. Again, you want to talk about a strike zone. That was a confusing one, that game, because I didn't know whether it was a ball or a strike. There was kind of a lack of consistency across the board. And trust me, I don't want to make it about umpires. They have a tough enough job as it is. But that was a tough one in the first inning, 4-2, I believe it was, after 1. And after that, it just kind of became a dogfight with both teams doing a lot of scrapping. Derek Winchester had 2 hits. For McCarthy, Miguel Delgado, their great shortstop, he scored 2 runs. Like I said, Duffy pitched 6 innings, had 8 Ks. Dean Jaworski went 4 2/3, just battled. Dean's a battler and just found a way without his best stuff. Ashton Pardo, keep an eye on this kid. He's a junior, really good arm. He went 1 1/3 innings. But the game came down to I think I said 6-4. It might have been a 6-5 final. I think it was 6-5. I think I wrote the score down wrong. 6-5 final for McCarthy, because Charter scored in the top of the 7th. They got a run, and then Derek Winchester got the save, got a big double play with Miguel Delgado doing what Miggy does at short, who's playing, to me, pro level, draftable level defense. And he started that 6-4-3 double play, and Winchester was able to close it out. But again, that was a really, really well played. In the semifinals, another game that was interesting was Pines Charter against MacArthur. MacArthur had a 4-0 lead, and Charter had to kind of chip back into it, and they ended up winning it in walk-off fashion with Fabricio Mejia's bases loaded squeeze bunt, where the bases were loaded and he bunted. It wasn't the best bunt in the world, but he bunted it back to the pitcher. The pitcher comes home, which he had to do because to get the out. It was a forced play, but I'm not sure the catcher didn't seem to be aware of that. So the catcher attempted a tag, and the runner, it was safe anyway on the tag, missing, being late in the tag. But had he had his foot on the base, it would have been a force out. So that's the difference, folks. Sometimes that little mental mistake or just, getting caught in the moment. But this is what's deciding it. And little things, bunting, even a bad bunt could get a good result as long as you execute getting the bunt down. And the thing is, I happened to be at Charter earlier in the week, and I watched one of their practices. They stress bunting. They do a lot of bunting. So the small ball aspect paid off for Pines Charter. And you saw, as noted, in the 2A game with Chaminade, Dylan Goris getting bunts down. So that all factored into it. That was big. And now let's kind of go around the horn. 7A District 14, West Broward, winners of 6 in a row. They win that district. They win 9-3 at Cypress Bay. Ethan Lindor, AJ Cruz, Manuel Sarcos, each homer for the Bobcats. Ivan Sabater had 7 strikeouts and 3 1/3 innings. Ace Aguila had 6 strikeouts and 3 2/3 innings. They're ready. West Brown is going to be hard to beat. Let's make it clear. But 7A, we've talked about it. Stone Douglas is going to be hard to beat. Columbus is going to be hard to beat. But West Broward is playing at a very high level right now. And, so we will see how that goes. 7A 13, District 13. Stoneman Douglas has now won 6 in a row. They won that game 6-0 over Western in the title game after beating Taravella 3-0 in the semifinal games. So Douglas doesn't give up a run in district play. They easily win, outscoring the opponents 9-0. Championship game, Gio Rojas doing Gio Rojas things. Complete game. I think he had a 2-hitter, 7 strikeouts, and Gio just kept the Wildcats in check. Jackson Taylor, Douglas's fine catcher, he homered in that game. In the semifinals, when they beat Taravella, Reed Daddick, keep an eye on Reed. He's going to be big for them out on the mound because Gio's, can only go one game. And in the regionals, we'll see. 5 innings, nine strikeouts against Taravella. I saw Reed pitch against Chaminade Madonna. He looked really good that day. So Eagles move on, winners of 5 straight. We'll see how that goes as well. Let's take it down to St. Thomas Aquinas, 6A, District 15, just dominating. They're 21-4 right now, really in the driver's seat in 6A down here in South Florida. They beat Flanagan, and Flanagan has been playing really well. They beat Flanagan 15-5 in the title game. It was a little closer for a while there. Yunel Paredes had a homer, 4 RBIs for St. Thomas. Jake Carruthers, Nico Sabatino also homers. So Nico homers, Jake homers in the semifinals against Nova, where they beat them handily. Brady Bucksbaum had 2 homers. But back in for Flanagan, my boy Eric Nodal has been hot. I think he homered in 3 straight games because he homered in the championship game. He told me he also homered in a game against Cooper City. I guess it was a semifinal game, and I saw him hit. I think it was Eric. I think he hit a grand slam. Not a grand slam, but 3-run homer. I can't remember. Remember Eric? I've seen so much baseball. He had hit a grand slam in a game earlier in the week as well. So Flanagan, let's see if they get in where they are in regional, and let's see if Western in 7A gets in regional seeding. So they probably will, but again, the Raiders, the 6A defending state champs, they're going to look to get back to Fort Myers and in a really good position to do so. Then as we going down to 3A, North Broward Prep, 6-2 winner over Coral Springs Charter. Thought I wrote down their district. Why didn't I? I'm getting old, folks. Sometimes every now and then I do that. So let me just call it up to get all the information accurate. North Broward Prep baseball, yes. A 3A District 12. Yes, they beat Coral Springs Charter 6-2 in the title game. North Broward Prep, we will see where they end up in regional. 3A District 13, Cardinal Gibbons. They beat Calvary Christian Academy 7-2 in the championship game. Then let's take it to 3A District 14, Monsignor Pace, 6-1 winners in that title game over I Matter Charter. Then 6A is also going to get interesting because Doral Academy, they lose to Southridge 4-1 in that title game. So it looks like Southridge will probably be the number 2 seed behind St. Thomas. So Doral would not have that home field advantage in the semifinals, the regional semifinals, and barring upsets, if they keep advancing the championship round. Let's jump back to 7A, because in 7A we got Columbus down there in 7A District 16. They are 12-0 winners over Coral Glades, and so it's going to be interesting to see who the number 1 seed in 7A is in Region 4 here in South Florida, I should say. Right now, it probably is shaping up that it could be Columbus, but strength of schedule, it could also be Douglas, because I think Douglas has been ranked higher than them. Let's jump over now to 2A District 15, True North Classical Academy, 3-0 winners over Palmer Trinity. So again, we're going to see, are they going to be the number 1 seed down here in 2A? Is Chaminade Madonna going to jump in there in 2A? We shall find out. Then let's go to 4A District 16. We got Berlin Jesuit, 9-4 winners in that region. So they move on. Uh, Now let's also look at 4A District 15 American Heritage. The Patriots have won 10 straight, and they're playing as well as anybody in South Florida right now. Offense is coming alive. They beat Somerset Academy 6-4. Brady Snow doing Brady Snow things, 5 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Bladen Caballero, huge game, homer, 3 RBIs for Bladen. And we will see. There's a good chance that if the Patriots are the 4 seed and Somerset Academy is 5 seed, they will match up again. In the first round. Again, that would be at American Heritage. I think Johnny Mora, I think he had like a couple of run RBI double or something like that in the last inning of that game. So, but again, Patriots, we'll see what they do in 4A 15. Like I said, Key West losers to Berlin Jesuit in the 4A 16 championship game. Berlin Jesuit team to keep an eye on there. And then we will bounce over to 5A District 16 because this is a school and a lot of people are paying attention to right now. Defending champion, Matter Academy Charter. They win that district easily, 13-3 over Hialeah in the title game, but there is some drama regarding eligibility of at least one key player. I'm not really at liberty because I'm hearing stuff secondhand, so I'm not going to get into specifics, but I will say that it's probably not too hard to figure out, but at least one key player has not been in the lineup, and the rumblings is it could be related to eligibility, but we shall see. We don't want to jump ahead or give anything factually inaccurate, but we will see what happens with Matter Academy Charter and where they end up being seated, because as of now, they appear to be the heavy favorite to get back to Fort Myers. Again, so that kind of runs down everything in terms of our districts here in South Florida. There will be that show again on Monday. They will announce all the pairings. Last year, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals of the regionals all were best of 3. This year, it's a one and done. So whoever wins that game is one or done. So if you're a heavy favorite and your ace is on the mound and you lose, or he has a bad game and you lose, it's over. It doesn't matter if you're the best team, the 1 seed or the 8 seed, you're done. Whoever wins that one and done. Then in the regional semifinals and finals, those will be best of 3. And then, to my knowledge, I think everything's going to be on either a Friday or a Saturday. So I think the single elimination games, if I have this correct, again, I will have more details as the regionals are announced. It seems like the games will be that one and done either on a Friday this upcoming week or Saturday. So everybody's going to have a full week to get everybody. So everybody's aces should be ready to go in this single elimination game. And then I believe also the regional semis and finals will also be over the weekend. That's a best of 3, but I think they're going to do, like, if you play Friday, which I guess everyone will be doing, you'll play Friday, that either an afternoon or an evening game, and then game 2, which would be an elimination game for the loser of Friday's game, will be a day game on Saturday. And if a third game is needed, that third game would be played in the form of a doubleheader immediately after the afternoon game in there. And if there's rain, I guess that's also a factor, that rain, I doubt whether they'd play a high school game on a Sunday, but you could play the final game or the final 2 games on Monday or Tuesday. So I imagine that's what the state is doing, keeping those early days of the week open in case of the chance that they need to, make up a game. But that kind of runs it down, folks. Again, some amazing stuff. I wish I could show you that highlight, but I don't want to do my 4th take of this podcast. Again, thanks everybody. Once again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Stuff's heating up. Planning on being with everybody all the way through Fort Myers. So if I haven't seen you enough and coaches want to see more of me, and just keep winning, there's a good chance you will see me either, this upcoming week or in Fort Myers. With that, everyone, please like, subscribe, check out all the videos. We're going to have more content, leading up to the week. Hopefully I get out to some practices to the coaches that are gracious enough to let me come in and shoot some BP or whatever it is. And I'll probably do a few type of podcasts where I give my opinions and kind of break down what's about to happen. But it's all been fun. It's all been good. Thank you to everybody for tuning in, and we will check everybody out in the next